A single gunshot has sent shockwaves through American politics and reignited the national debate about political violence. Conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk was assassinated during a speaking event at Utah Valley University on Wednesday afternoon. What was supposed to be a routine stop on his American comeback tour became the scene of a calculated political assassination that has left the nation reeling. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was a targeted execution that occurred in front of hundreds of witnesses and has already triggered a massive federal investigation involving the FBI and Secret Service. The assassination occurred at approximately 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time during what Kirk called a prove me wrong debate session at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Kirk, seated at a table engaging with students in his typical confrontational style, was struck by a single bullet to the neck area. Eyewitness Justin Hickens, who was approximately 20 yards from the shooting, told NBC News that he heard a loud gunshot and saw blood immediately come from Kirk as his body jerked backward. The precision of this attack cannot be understated. Kirk was killed with a single shot in what Utah Governor Spencer Cox immediately characterized as a political assassination. The shooter demonstrated remarkable accuracy, striking Kirk in a fatal area despite the crowded venue and the presence of security personnel. What makes this assassination particularly chilling is how it unfolded during an active political discussion. According to multiple witnesses, there was ironically a discussion about recent shootings when the fatal shot was fired. This timing suggests the shooter may have been waiting for a specific moment, possibly to make a symbolic statement about political violence in America. The immediate aftermath was chaotic and terrifying. Utah Valley University, with its more than 46,000 students, was immediately placed under lockdown. Campus police began escorting people to safety, while authorities launched a massive manhunt for the shooter. Initial reports suggested a suspect was in custody, but officials later clarified that the person initially detained was not connected to the shooting. The FBI has now taken the lead in what they're treating as a domestic terrorism investigation. A person of interest has been taken into custody, though authorities have been careful not to identify this individual as a shooter. The federal response has been unprecedented, with FBI Director Kash Patel personally coordinating with Utah authorities and President Trump from the White House. Political reactions have been swift and uniform in condemning the violence, but the underlying tensions are unmistakable. Former Vice President Kamala Harris stated she was deeply disturbed by the incident, emphasizing that political violence has no place in America. Representative Burgess Owens tweeted that he was closely monitoring the horrific situation and that we will not tolerate this in Utah. President Trump announced Kirk's death on Truth Social, calling him the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk, and stating that no one understood or had the heart of the youth of America like Charlie. The president's response suggests this assassination will likely become a rallying cry for conservative activists and could significantly impact the current political climate. Kirk's death represents the loss of one of conservative America's most influential voices. As co-founder of Turning Point USA, Kirk built one of the most powerful conservative youth organizations in the country. His campus speaking tours regularly drew massive crowds and intense protests, making him both a hero to conservative students and a target for left-wing activists. The 31-year-old activist had become increasingly prominent in recent years as one of Trump's most vocal supporters. His organization claimed chapters at thousands of high schools and colleges across America, and his social media presence reached millions of young conservatives. Kirk's influence extended far beyond traditional media, making him one of the most recognizable faces in the conservative movement. This assassination comes at a time when political tensions in America have reached dangerous levels. The incident at Utah Valley University represents an escalation that many experts have been warning about for months. Political violence, once unthinkable in American democratic discourse, has become an increasingly present threat to public figures across the political spectrum. Security experts are now questioning how this attack succeeded despite the presence of campus security and Kirk's own protective measures. The fact that a gunman was able to get close enough to Kirk to deliver a fatal shot raises serious concerns about the security protocols surrounding political figures, particularly those who regularly engage in confrontational public events. The investigation is focusing intensively on the shooter's motives and potential connections to extremist groups. While authorities have not released details about the person of interest in custody, federal agents are examining social media accounts, communications, and any possible political affiliations that might have motivated this attack. The impact on American political discourse will likely be profound and lasting. Kirk's assassination represents a crossing of a line that threatens the foundation of democratic debate in America. The fact that this occurred during what was essentially an educational event on a college campus makes the attack even more significant. Campus free speech advocates are already expressing concern that this assassination could have a chilling effect on political discourse at universities nationwide. The idea that political speakers could become targets for assassination while engaging with students represents a fundamental threat to the open exchange of ideas that universities are supposed to foster. Law enforcement agencies nationwide are now reassessing security protocols for political figures and public events. The successful assassination of such a high-profile conservative figure will likely lead to enhanced security measures for political speakers across the country. As this investigation continues, the fundamental questions facing America remain. How did political discourse reach a point where assassination becomes a tool of political expression? What does this mean for the future of democratic debate? And most importantly, how can a nation already deeply divided prevent this tragedy from further tearing apart the fabric of American democracy? The answers to these questions will likely define American politics for years to come, as the nation grapples with the aftermath of losing one of its most influential young conservative voices to political violence.